Part 34. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 331. Chapter 331 Chapter 331 She Can't Leave. Moziwiyuan was a businessman. He was angry when his son failed to live up to his expectations. He kicked him out of the company and gave him several $100 million to start his own business. At that time, Hua knew that his son had been kicked out of the company, and he went to Moziwiyuan's office to make a big fuss. As a result, Moziwiyuan didn't like her very much now, and the women outside had never stopped. Hua is also a ruthless person. As long as the women Moziwiyuan has a relationship with, she will never let them give birth to children. Even if there is an accident, she will definitely deal with it in time. Mozikang's relationship with this family is not good. As long as he does not come back, all Moziwiyuan's property will belong to his son. This is why Hua can bear it. But Hua's backside is not clean either. A woman in her 40s is also the most afraid of loneliness, so she also has a regular male partner behind her back. But Moziwiyuan didn't let Moziwiyuan know about this. If he knew, he would really be scratched off. One piece of skin. Zhang Xiaoxiao read it and just wanted to say that the family is really chaotic. Except for the eldest son, no one is a normal person. After reading this, Zhang Xiao put down the computer and waited for the person to send her the useful information tomorrow. Fu Chenexai returned home from handling the company's affairs. As soon as he arrived in the lobby, he was stopped by the housekeeper. Fifth master, the old man asked you to go find him in the garden. Fu Chenexai frowned and asked, did the old man say what happened? The housekeeper shook his head and said he didn't know. Fu Chenexai deepened his brows, put on the coat he had just taken off, put it on and walked into the garden. He walked up to the old man and said with a good attitude, Dad, what do you want from me? Mr. Fu grunted twice and hit Fu Chenexai with the crutch in his hand. Are you going to help her secretly and let her know the truth about her parents' matter when she was a child? The crease between Fu Chenexai's brows deepened, and his voice was calm. She's already doing the investigation herself, and she can't hide it. Instead of letting her have the trouble of doing the investigation alone, it's better to help her. The old man said angrily, if she wants to know, just tell her. If she is not sensible, you will also be ignorant. The Mo family is not that easy to deal with. If it was easy to deal with, why did I bring her back when I was a child? I will ensure her safety, Fu Chenexai said firmly. Mr. Fu felt that he was really going to him off. When I was little, I found out about her parents, and then I left our Fu family. Do you want the little girl to leave? She can't leave, Fu Chenexai said firmly. The old man didn't understand where his confidence came from. You said she can't leave. If she can't leave? Now there are marriages and divorces. We were not related by blood when we were young. She can leave as long as she wants. Let me tell you, Fu Chenexai, old man, I just look at such a caring little cotton padded jacket. If you want to lose me, just wait and see me die. The old man was obviously very angry. He desperately wanted to stop Zhang Xiaoxiao from investigating the past, and his son was like his nemesis, trying his best to help. You can't leave, don't worry, Fu Chenexai reassured the old man, not to mention that the old man did not allow Zhang Xiao to leave, he did not allow it even more, and his people could only stay by his side. What do you promise me? From now on, you are not allowed to secretly help Xiao Xiao. The slower she checks, the slower she will go. Do you understand? The old man hit Fu Chenexai twice. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 332. Chapter 332 Chapter 332 Level 10 Star Chasing Girl. Fu Chenexai was cleaned up by the old man before returning to Zhang Shishi's room. In the room, Jiangxi was lying on the bed in her pajamas, with the light afterglow outside the window covering her face. The girl's skin was fair and clean, her eyes were closed, she was breathing lightly, and she slept soundly. The tablet next to her head was on, still with the TV on. Fu Jianxiu stood at the edge of the bed, his cold eyes full of tenderness as he stared at the girl with only half of her face exposed on the bed. He bent down, turned off the tablet next to him, and then stepped up with his long legs. In his sleep, Jiangxi felt the heat coming from the side of his arm, and instinctively leaned towards a warm place. Fu Jianxiu twitched the corner of his mouth slightly, and he hugged Zhang Xiaoxiao, who was leaning towards him with satisfaction, resting his chin on the top of her soft hair, and relaxed and closed his eyes. When Zhang Xiao woke up, it was already 9 o'clock in the evening. She checked her phone and went downstairs. The old man had already had dinner, and the servant cooked for her alone. "Grandpa, is fifth uncle back?" Zhang Xiao asked the old man who was watching TV while eating dinner. "I came back, took a nap in the room and then went to the company," the old man replied. "Oh," Zhang Xiaoxiao frowned. The boss had come back, so why didn't he wake her up? "I'm young, I don't have any plans for this vacation. Do you want to go traveling?" the old man chatted with her. Jiangxi really didn't have any plans. It would be boring to stay at home every day for a month during the winter vacation. She doesn't like traveling, so it seems she has to find something to do. "Grandpa, I want to work during the winter vacation so that I can enrich myself in the future experience." "If you want to work, go to your fifth uncle's company and become a manager for fun," the old man suggested. Zhang Xiaoxiao. Does the old man want her to bring down the company? It was weird for her to think about a winter vacation worker becoming a manager. Zhang Xiaoxiao twitched his lips and said, "Grandpa, I don't want to go to Uncle Wu's company. I want to go outside and have a look." "I don't want you to go to Uncle Wu's company. It's going to be a long time. We slowly think about it. Grandpa supports you." The old man is relatively open to the education of his children, as long as you like it. After Zhang Xiao played a game of chess with the old man after dinner, he went upstairs and thought carefully about how to arrange the winter vacation. It would take 5 days to go to Rongcheng to find Mr. Li to find out about the situation back then. After understanding the situation, he would talk about the next step. But the Mo family is a big family after all, and she didn't just want to bring it down overnight. Zhang Xiao was lost in thought when his WeChat message flashed. 11 Xiao, do you want to come to Uncle Wu to guest star in a TV series? Zhao Huiyan's text message made Zhang Xiaoxiao excited. Why didn't she think that she was a person with a background now, and she couldn't do what she wanted to do together, but now she can do it? For example, chasing stars and having close contact with idols. Although it is in a book, the idols in the book are also described according to the idols in real life. For example, her Yi 11. Soon she replied to Zhao Huiyan's message, "Uncle Zhao, who is filming with you? Your Yi 11, and the recently popular Zhan Lan, Han Guang." Zhao Huiyan simply sent the cast list to Zhang Xiaoxi for her to read. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at the list of actors and almost jumped out of bed. They were all her beloved brothers. "Uncle Zhao, I'll go." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 333. Chapter 333. Chapter 333 Initiative. I'm filming at the film and television base in Rongcheng. Come over anytime. Uncle Zhao will pick you up. Good. After Zhang Xiaoxiao finished chatting with Zhao Huiyan, he glanced at the time and saw that Fu Jianxiu hadn't come back yet at 1 in the morning. He felt empty in his heart, so he naturally missed him. I thought to myself that I naturally followed my heart and called Fu Jianxiu, and the call was quickly connected. The man's low-pitched voice reached his ears through electric current. Zhang Xiaoxiao was holding the mobile phone, his little face was lightly pink, and his voice was unconsciously coquettish. "Uncle Wu, are you coming back today?" "Well, come back. When will you return?" Zhang Xiao asked. Fu Chenexai raised his hand, glanced at the watch on his hand, and replied, "In an hour." "Then I'll wait for you," Zhang Xiao replied happily. "Good." Fu Chenexai hung up Zhang Shishi's call. He was happiest then to have red eyes and pay full attention to the senior executives who were still in the meeting. The CEO didn't know who to agree to after an hour, which meant that they would be liberated in 1 hour and no longer had to sit in a nerve-wracking meeting. "Luo Yi, you will preside over the following meeting." Fu Chenexai left the message, turned around and left. "Senior leaders, didn't mean in an hour? Why did you just hang up the phone and leave?" Of all the people at the meeting, probably only Luo Yi and Mo Zhangxiang understood what was going on. There was only one person who could make Fu Chenexai leave regardless of the occasion, and that was Zhang Xiaoxi. Fu Chenexai drove home. As soon as he stepped into the room, a petite figure appeared, and someone hugged his waist. The girl's soft voice rang out, "Uncle Wu." Fu Chenexai held him in his arms. Ever since he showed the little girl the marriage certificate, the little girl had begun to cling to him. This was great. He rubbed the top of her hair and said, "What's the matter? Do you miss Uncle Wu?" Zhang snorted while nestling in Fu Chenexai's arms. Fu Chenexai's thin lips curled up, and he was in a great mood. "Why don't you sleep well?" Zhang Xiaoxiao raised his eyes were filled with deep affection and tears. He put his hands around Fu Chenexai's neck and kissed him without any warning. "Uncle Wu, I miss you so much." Fu Chenexai was stunned for a moment with cold eyes, and then kissed him back deeply. The temperature inside the room rose in vain. The next day, Zhang Shi's whole body ached as if he had been run over by a car, and his head was heavy. When he saw the man lying next to him, he completely understood what was going on. Why is she talking to the boss again? She clearly remembers that she had dinner yesterday, chatted with Zhao Huiyan, and then went to bed. Why did she have with the boss? Looking at the boss's stunning face and his good figure, she suddenly had a lustful feeling. Zhang Xiaoxiao despised herself in her heart, wondering why she was becoming more and more depraved. Thinking about going to the hot springs with the old man, Zhang Xiao prepared to get up quietly and walked out of the big man's arms lightly. When his feet just touched the ground, his legs suddenly bent and he fell heavily to the ground with a cry. A huge muffled sound. Before she could recover from the pain, she had been hugged back to the bed, and the man's angry voice sounded in her ears, "Why are you so careless?" Zhang Xiao stared at Fu Chenexai with tears in his eyes, aggrieved. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to wrestle." End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 334. Chapter 334. Chapter 334. It's not like taking up her body in vain. "Does it hurt?" Fu Chenexai asked distressedly. Zhang Xiaoxiao's cheeks felt hot and he replied, "Yeah, it hurts." "I will be gentler next time," Fu Chenexai said guiltily, massaging her thighs with his big palms. "I told you not to drink, so why are you still drinking secretly?" Zhang Xiao's brows and face were knitted together, and she pressed her temples with her hands. She didn't drink. Why did the boss come to tell her not to drink? "I didn't drink," Zhang Xiaoyi defended herself. She would never admit to something she hadn't done. "Why does your mouth taste like wine if you haven't drank it?" Fu Chenexai kissed her eyebrows and asked. Zhang Xiao frowned and thought for a moment. He really didn't drink last night, he just ate a bowl of fermented wine. The wine in Juniang is not called wine at all. Does she get drunk even if she drinks it? Zhang Xiao's little face almost wrinkled up. It was true that she couldn't drink strong alcohol. Now in this situation, it seems that she can't touch anything alcoholic. I'll just drink a bowl of glutinous rice stuffed with rice wine. Fu Chenexai was silent. No one will eat if I don't bring the wine. Oh, Zhang Xiao pouted, and mentally imposed a ban on drinking for herself. She couldn't remember anything after drinking. She had no memory of why she ended up hanging out with the boss last night. Although the two have done intimate things several times now, she doesn't seem to feel good about it. I'll take you to wash up, Fu Chenexai said. No, I'll go by myself, Zhang Xiaoxiao replied with a blushing face. Fu Chenexai frowned and stared at her. Are you sure you can do it? I can do it. In order to prove that he could do it, Zhang Xiaoxiao got up from someone's arms. As soon as his feet landed on the ground, the feeling of powerlessness came over him instantly. He gritted his teeth and forced himself to stand up straight. Just standing up straight like that, let her cold sweat broke out. He looked down at his trembling legs, and the corners of his mouth twitched a few times. The male protagonist was the male protagonist, and his strength was beyond words. Zhang Xiao stood there for 2 minutes and then walked to the bathroom. He filled the bathtub with hot water and took a soak to relieve his fatigue. Xiaozu Mingjiku Hot Spring. Chu Hanyu and Zhang Xiao were enjoying the hot springs together. Are you flying to Chengdu this afternoon? Yeah, Zhang Xiao replied comfortably while running to the hot spring. Chu Hanyu opened his deer eyes and looked at Zhang Xiaoxi with a worried expression. Xiao Xiao, since you already know that you are from the Mo family, why do you have to check the past? It's an explanation for myself, Zhang Xiaoxiao replied calmly. Chu Hanyu also helped Zhang Xiaoxiao check some things about the Mo family. She still knew a lot about what the Mo family was like, so naturally she was not willing to see her in danger. Xiao Xiao, have you ever thought about Fu's family? Grandpa doesn't want you to know what happened back then, just because he wants you to grow up happily. I know, but I need to check it out and give my former self an explanation, do you understand? Zhang Xiaoxiao told her seriously. When she knew that she was from the Mo family, she didn't need to check the past things, because the previous grudges had nothing to do with her, but that was not possible, because this body belonged to Bai Yueguang, and she had to help Bai Yueguang get one account. If it was hatred, she wanted to help Bai Yueguang put an end to this hatred. It would not be considered as occupying her body in vain, but it could also be considered that she had done something for her. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 335. Chapter 335. Chapter 335. Old Man Li. Rong Cheng. Zhang Xiao left the airport wearing a thick down jacket. As soon as she got into a taxi, a sudden feeling of dizziness hit her head. She leaned against the taxi window. The driver thought she was motion sick, so he opened the passenger window a little to let in the cold wind. The cold wind blew in, which made Zhang Xiao recover and his dizziness disappeared. Little girl, if you get car sick and want to vomit, I have a garbage bag behind me, just vomit in it, the driver said enthusiastically. Zhang Xiao pressed his temple with one hand and said thank you to the driver with a calm expression. Little girl, what are you going to do in Tengtu Mountain? The mountain is closed. The snow is so heavy that you can't go up here. The driver is a local and knows the local tourist attractions well, which means he is well intentioned. A reminder to Zhang Shi. Zhang Xiao smiled and said, Master, I know I can't go up. I'm going to stay in a hotel down the mountain for 2 days to see the snow scenery. Oh, Tengtu Mountain is famous for its snow scene, and it's normal to go to the mountain to see the snow. Zhang Xiao had called Wang Qifen before she came. She said that there was too much snow on the mountain and there was no heating supply. She also came down the mountain, including the old man, so she just had to go directly to the hotel at the foot of the mountain. After chatting with the driver, they arrived at the foot of Tengtu Mountain. Wang Qifen had been waiting for her at the door early. When he saw her appear, he ran over and said, "Little girl, you were walking too fast, and Aunt Wang didn't even take care of her. It's great to take care of you. You've recovered from your cold and are full of energy again." Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled dryly. The reason why he came down from Tengtu Mountain was really embarrassing, so naturally he didn't want to recall it, so he changed the subject. "Aunt Wang, where is that old man Li? I want to see him. He lives in room 09. He hasn't left the house since he came down the mountain. If you want to ask him about things back then, it's not good for you to go there empty-handed." Wang Quifen's words reminded Zhang Ziaxi that it was indeed insincere to go to someone to inquire about the matter with nothing. "Aunt Wang, I bought some gifts and the like at this hotel." "No." Zhang Xiao was worried now. There was no gift. How could she make a gift for him now? Wang Quifen couldn't help but smile when he saw her slumped little face. "I'm kidding you. Before you said you wanted to come to Old Man Li to ask about the car accident, I had already prepared it for you." Zhang Xiaoxiao hugged Wang Quifen fiercely. "Aunt Wang, you are so kind, I love you." Wang Quifen smiled lovingly. "You are the only one with a sweet mouth." Under the leadership of Wang Quifen, Zhang Xiao went to room 09 and met this old man Li. This old man Li was completely different from what she had imagined. He was energetic and clean, and he didn't look like Xiaoshan at all. "People. Old man Li, a little girl is here to listen to your story," Wang Quifen called him in a loud voice. Li Shan glanced at Wang Quifen, then fixed his gaze on Zhang Ziaxi. His eyes narrowed. "I have a lot of stories, are you patient enough to listen?" Yes, I like listening to stories the most." Zhang Xiaoxiao said that she was very interested, because Wang Quifen told her before coming here that this person likes to tell the old almanac, and if you want to make him happy, he will naturally. You can hear what you want to know. "Where are the things?" Zhang Xiaoxiao quickly took the wine in his hand and placed it in front of him. "To honor you, do you want some peanuts?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 336. Chapter 336. Chapter 336. No one died in the car accident. "You girl, do you understand?" Old man Li looked at Zhang Xiao with satisfaction. Zhang Ziaxi put a bag of peanuts in front of Li Shan. "You can talk while you eat?" Li Shan poured himself a glass of wine and pointed to the stool next to him. Zhang Xiaoxiao understood it instantly, walked over and sat down, sitting upright, as if he was listening attentively. Wang Quifen did not disturb them and went to the hotel kitchen to cook dinner for Zhang Shi. Li Shan drank a glass of wine and chewed a few peanuts, and then began to describe what happened when he was young. He used to work in a unit, but later he was not tactful enough and was ostracized by his colleagues. With a withdrawn personality, he returned to at home. "I became a mountain guard." There were a lot of stories where he was a mountain guard and he encountered quite bizarre things, which were quite interesting and not boring at all. After listening to the story for nearly 2 hours, Li Shan got drunk and finally talked about the car accident that year. Things. "Little girl, you just want to know about the car accident 10 years ago, right?" Li Shan's face turned red after drinking, and he was obviously drunk. "Uncle, don't let me offend you. Tell me about the car accident that year." Zhang Ziaxi poured wine for him. Li Shan drank the wine happily. "Seeing that you are still patient, I will tell you, old man." Zhang Xiao pretended to be all ears. "In fact, no one died in the car accident that year," Li Shan said. "No one died? But the people in the car died. The news said the driver died on the spot," Zhang Xiao asked doubtfully. Li Shan sneered, and then slowly narrated, "When there was a car accident, I happened to be patrolling in the mountains. When I heard a loud noise, I ran to see it. When I went there, the driver was there. His children were all still alive. When I saw people still alive, I wanted to find someone for help, but do you know what? Jiangxi's curiosity was completely aroused. I heard the sound of a wooden warehouse. Although Li Shan drank wine, he still couldn't hide the fear in his eyes. Although Zhang Xiaoxiao had some suspicions in her mind, she was in a completely different state of mind than hearing it with her own ears. In real life, she lived in a completely peaceful place, and no one would kill so blatantly. So they were all killed by others, not in car accidents. Zhang Xiaoxiao followed his lead and asked. Li Shan drank another glass of wine to cover up the fear in his heart. I saw it with my own eyes, little girl, I picked up my whole life. Zhang Xiao pursed his lips, looked at Li Shan who was drinking, and didn't ask any more questions. Little girl, I was planning to take what happened back then into the coffin. When I tell you about it today, I feel a lot more relaxed. Why are you telling me again? Aren't you going to bring it into the coffin? Zhang Xiao was not ready to ask until she came, but she always felt that there was something in Li Shan's words. Because Li Shan squinted his eyes, but before he could say anything, the cup in his hand fell to the ground and he fell asleep. Jiangxi Fu President's Office. Luo Yi reported on Zhang Xiaoxi's situation. Fifth Master, Li Shan has already told the young lady what happened back then. Well, did the little girl have any reaction? Fu Chenxiao asked. I heard that there was no reaction, and my mood was not affected, Luo Yi replied. Fu Chenxiao frowned slightly, but the little girl didn't react, which was strange. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 337. Chapter 337. Chapter 337. Memory emerges. As long as her safety is not endangered, let her do whatever she wants. Luo Yi. Fifth Master, didn't the old man tell you not to help the young lady? You sent Li Shan to the young lady like this and let her know that the person who killed her father was her own uncle. It is impossible for the young lady to hate her so deeply. If you want to take revenge, you will be in danger. Luo Yi really couldn't understand his boss's operation. Since he wanted to let Zhang Xiaoxiao know, he didn't help Zhang Xiaoxi remove the obstacles and was afraid of putting others in danger. Contradictory. Just keep an eye on people. Fu Chenxiao said indifferently. Yes, Luo Yi went to do it as assigned. Before he reached the office, a text message popped up on his mobile phone. Master, there is a problem with the project in Chengdu. I will go to Chengdu to deal with it. Luo Yi hurriedly called. He had single-handedly handled the Chengdu project. Now there is a problem, and that is his ability. Mo Zhangxiang was sitting on the plane and answered Luo Yi's call. Master, there is a problem with the supplier. There is a quality problem with the goods they supplied us this time. Now the government wants us to stop work. Aren't all our materials produced in our own factory? Luo Yi didn't believe that there was something wrong with his own factory. The materials in Chengdu this time were not supplied by our factory. Mo Zhangxiang looked through the contract in his hand and found that there were errors. I understand. You go and deal with it first. I'll catch the next flight. Luo Yi quickly understood. It seems that there is a mole down there. It seems that the fifth master didn't clean it up last time. Master, I can handle it. You don't have to rush over. Mo Zhangxiang went to Rongchen not only to deal with the company's problems, but also to deal with the Mo family. She received a message from Su Yuan's. Zhang Xiaoxiao already knew what happened back then. She wanted to rush in front of Zhang Xiaoxiao and defeat the Mo family. Okay, you deal with it first. If you can't deal with it, call me. Mo Zhangxiang hung up the phone and started contacting suppliers and media. Tengtishan. Zhang Xiao slid her tablet, and on it was the second half of the Mo family information sent to her by the private detective. Based on what Li Shan told her, she already knew what happened that year, and it was more than she imagined. That is the dispute over the Mo family's property. Mr. Mo wants to hand over the Mo group to Mo Kongming, Bai Yueguang's father. As the boss, Mo Ziwiyuan feels that he should inherit the family property, and Mo Mingguo they had always been at odds with Mo Kongming, so the two of them joined forces to get rid of Mo Kongming. To put it bluntly, it was a fight between wealthy families, but their methods were really disgusting, and they also used some unsavory methods before the car accident. But now she is very sure that it was Mo Ziwiyuan who killed Mo Kongming. There are also photos of Mo Kongming's autopsy on it. Zhang Xiao looked at those photos, tears naturally bursting out of his eyes, followed by a severe pain in his head, and your familiar smile and familiar voice rang in his ears and hovered in his mind. Run, run quickly. Child, come on to daddy. Don't be afraid when you are little, your parents will protect you. When you are little, hold your sister's hand and don't let go. Don't be afraid when you are little, sister will definitely find someone to save you, don't be afraid, sister. Our. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 338. Chapter 338 Chapter 338 Memory emerges, 2. Zhang Xiao held his head in his hands and lay on the bed. His smooth and white forehead was covered with sweat. His face quickly faded and turned pale. The voice lingered in his mind and lingered in his ears for a long time. When I'm young, your dad will come back soon to celebrate your birthday. Our family was really a cute little princess when we were little. Come over and give your parents a hug when you're young. Mom and Dad. Zhang Xiaoxiu's bloodless lips opened and closed, and he murmured softly. He closed his eyes in pain, and then came memories like a sea wave. In the warm home, two little girls were playing around. Mom, my sister hid my doll, the little girl complained to a beautiful woman with tears in her eyes. The woman gently touched the top of the little girl's hair and said gently, tell your sister well and act coquettishly, and she will return the doll to you. The little girl curled her lips and held her little head high. I don't want to act like a baby. I'm a big kid, so I don't want to act like a baby. The woman covered her mouth and chuckled, but if you don't act like a baby, my sister won't give you the doll back. Don't you want the doll? No, I want my doll. Mom, can you ask my sister to give the doll back to me? The little girl cried sadly while holding the woman's thigh. Her white and tender little face turned red from crying. Then you act coquettishly with your sister, the woman guided. The little girl's brows were lightly furrowed, and her little face was serious, as if she was about to make a big decision. After thinking for a while, she sniffed and walked over to the little girl who was half a head taller than her, pulling on the corner of her clothes. Said in a milky voice, Sister, please return the doll to me, I won't be able to sleep without her. Smile for your sister, and she will return the doll to you, the girl teased her. The little girl was forced to put on a cute smile for her doll. The girl took out a doll from her hand and gave it to her, just like magic. The little girl saw the doll put on a beautiful princess dress, and jumped up in surprise. Sister, my doll has a princess dress. Happy birthday, our little princess. The girl pinched her cheek. Thank you, sister. The little girl ran to the woman like a treasure and showed off. Mom, my sister made a beautiful little skirt for the doll. The woman smiled gently and said, well, she is very beautiful. You must take good care of her when you are young. Then let's go see if Dad is back. Okay, the woman led them out. Good. The woman and her two children waited at the door for a while. A car drove into their sight and finally stopped in front of them. A handsome man got out of the car. The little girl ran up happily and hugged the man's hand. Thigh, happily called, Daddy. The man picked up the girl and kissed her cheek. When I was little, did you listen to your mother and sister well at home today? Yes, Daddy. Where is your childhood gift? The little girl eagerly asked the man for a gift. The man pinched the tip of her nose and said, "You know you want a gift, don't you, Miss Daddy?" "Of course I missed my dad when I was little," the little girl said, and kissed the man on the face. The man smiled with satisfaction. "Go get the gift in the car by yourself." The little girl went to get the gift, and the man and the woman were left alone. The woman said coquettishly, "I gave it to you to spoil you when you were little." At once. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 339. Chapter 339. Chapter 339. Memory emerges. 3. If you're spoiled, you'll be spoiled. It's okay if your daughter is spoiled a little, the man said, holding the woman's waist. The woman glared at him and said, "What you said is easy. If you get married when you are young and go to other people's homes, you will be disliked." The man's face darkened and he said seriously, "Whoever dares to dislike my daughter or make her angry, I will certainly not let him go. My daughters will not marry outsiders in the future, and our family can afford to raise them." The woman looked at the man with a headache and said, "When my daughter is older, you will no longer be able to control her. Then we will instill in them the idea that they cannot leave home from now on." Woman. Get in the car, I agreed to take you to ski. The two little guys are waiting in a hurry. The man put his arm around her waist, opened the passenger door, and let the woman sit in. The family of four was sitting happily in the car, singing songs, and the scenery outside the car window was alluring. It was originally a very happy day, but at this moment all the atmosphere disappeared, because the car skidded out of control, and the frightened sounds of the two little girls and the screams of the woman rang out in the car. "Dad, woo woo woo. Husband. Ah." The car body stabilized. The man's forehead hit the steering wheel, and the woman on the passenger side hit the windshield next to her. Both of them were seriously injured. The first time they reacted, they looked at the child seat sitting behind them. "Child in chair. Momo, are you injured?" "Woo woo woo, Mom." The little girl cried hard. Although her sister was scared, she answered the woman with red eyes and a trembling voice, "Mom, we are not injured." When the woman heard her daughter's answer, she and the man breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. "Momo, unbuckle your seat belt, take your sister out of the car, and find someone to save Dad and Mom, okay?" "Okay," the little girl sniffed, holding back the tears, and went to unbuckle the seat belt with trembling hands. She was nervous, so she took it several times before unbuckling the seat belt, and then went to help her sister unbuckle it. The two little ones could move around, and the woman handed them her mobile phone and said, "Momo, when you are young, listen to your mother and ask if there is a house on the road we drove here. Go there and ask for help from adults. Come and save Mom and Dad, okay? Mom, you, come, with us." The little girl cried intermittently, and her voice became hoarse from crying. "Child, don't cry. Can you follow your sister to help your mother?" The woman tried her best to comfort the little girl. "Mom, we have you, Mom, Dad, we have you." The little girl couldn't hold back her tears. The woman had no choice but to look at her eldest daughter and said, "Momo, do you remember what Mom just said?" "Well, remember, Mom, are you and Dad hurt?" Dad didn't even speak. The little girl was older after all, and wouldn't cry all the time. The woman glanced at the man lying on the steering wheel, her eyes full of worry, but she didn't show it clearly. She had to be strong in front of the children. "Dad is more seriously injured than Mom, so Momo, you have to find someone quickly, save us, you know." The little girl glanced at the man and nodded firmly, "Mom, I know, I will definitely find someone to save you. Good boy, Mommy believes in you. You have to take good care of your sister, you know, the woman said weakly. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 340. Chapter 340 Chapter 340 Memory emerges. 4. The little girl wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, took the hand of her crying sister next to her, opened the car door, and walked back along the road. The woman sat motionless in the passenger seat, looking at the two daughters slowly walking away with gentle eyes. Only when the two figures disappeared did the woman have the energy to look at the man next to her. He weakly called the man next to him, "Honey, are you okay?" The man was lying on the steering wheel and could only move his fingers to respond to his wife. The woman saw that she could still move her fingers, her tense nerves were relaxed, and she was still conscious, so it would be no problem to hold on until her daughters came back. "Husband, hold on, the daughters will be back soon." The man moved his fingers again in response to her. The woman was talking to the man alone, fearing that the man had fallen asleep. "Husband, our Momo has grown up, do you know? Just now our Momo was so strong that he didn't even cry. It was so special sensible. It's true that when she was little, she cried so much that she couldn't stop crying," the woman said with a smile on her little daughter's face. Slowly, the woman said she was tired, and began to slowly close her eyes. Just when her eyes were about to close completely, her pupils suddenly dilated, and then there was a loud sound, and the woman had a painful expression on her face. "Why, it's you, we are relatives. Brother and sister, has anyone ever told you that people die for money and birds die for food? You can take all the money you want. There is no need to get rid of us." The woman stared at him. Mozwi Yuan's eyes were cold, and he looked condescendingly at the woman who was about to die. His voice was cold and ruthless. "I don't like to leave troubles. Only when you die can I ensure that all the Mo family's property belongs to me. Brothers and sisters, don't worry, my brother will be with you soon, as well as your two lovely daughters." The woman looked at the man in horror, her pale lips trembling, and with the last strength of a hen to protect her young, she roared, "If you dare to touch my daughter, Mozwi Yuan, I will never let you go." Mozwi Yuan raised his hand high, pointing the black muzzle of the gun at the woman's eyebrows. "Brother and sister, I have never believed in ghosts and gods. I don't know if you can turn into a ghost and come to me clearly. Since you want to know so much, then I will give you a ride and stay safe with my brothers and sisters." At the same time as Mozwi Yuan's voice, there was the sound of wooden warehouse. The woman was completely dead, but her pupils were still wide open, and she didn't want to close her eyes. The man who was originally lying on the passenger seat moved his whole fingers and tried to get up from the steering wheel several times, but to no avail. Mozwi Yuan glanced mockingly at Mo Kongming, who was lying on the steering wheel, unable to move and seriously injured. "Brother, there should only be one person left between you and me. Now that my brother and sister have gone, I will send you to reunite. The child will come soon." The two people in the car were completely asleep. Mozwi Yuan put away his pistol. The boy next to him said to him, "Boss, I have followed the footprints of the two children to find them. Don't leave anyone alive." Mozwi Yuan left the message and stepped into another car, as if he had never experienced anything just now. "Sister, run, run." Mo Zhongxiang held Zhang Xiaoxi's hand and ran forward desperately. Someone behind them was pointing a wooden warehouse at them. Zhang Xiao was walking on short legs and couldn't stop crying, "Sister, I can't run, I can't move." End of this chapter.